trying to do this where I do not take up too much time in the beginning of the chat because, well, we want to get right into it, right, guys? It has been a really busy week, but we're still doing this. So let's see, who's that? Uh, Hold on. Give me a second, guys, because I have to look down at my phone. Jamie, nice to see you here. Thank you for joining. Jade, I knew you'd be here, girl. See, I already know, like, a lot of the people that, have been supporting me through this, I am just really, really ecstatic for you guys being here. I'm definitely ecstatic for new people being here. The more the merrier. I mean, we gotta, we gotta get this ball rolling. Hope. Can you guys hear me good? I just want to make sure of that too. Make sure, just let me know if you can hear me good, because I know when I used my headphones the last time, they didn't work. So I decided not to use them this time. So if you can, if you hear me good, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Tracker. Thank you so much. How are you guys doing? Perfect. That's perfect, because I don't know, I use my headphones sometimes. I use them in my videos and they work, but when I'm doing live, for some reason, it just like interferes. So I just decided to just keep it like this. But how's everybody doing? Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Hope, everything went smooth for you guys. I had a great weekend. I got to spend some time with my good friend Amanda. She's the one who joined me in my sip chat videos, a 2-part series, which was a lot of fun to make, but we did cover a lot of details. And so far, a lot of people resonated with, with our experiences. So I'm really, really glad about that. And I'm happy that, I know, Jade, it was funny, right? And we were gonna make a blooper reel, but then I was like, you know what? Why edit it out? Just leave it in there, because, sometimes you gotta laugh about things rather than cry about them, right? So we definitely had a good time making it, and it definitely did release a lot of pent up energy and, emotions. So we're definitely, we were definitely happy to make it, and it felt good. It really did. It felt good to let a lot out. And that's something that we all got to do, guys. We got to let it out, let it go, and, begin the healing. I mean, I know there are a lot of different people in different stages of their journey. I'm trying hard. I'm still getting accustomed to recording in landscape mode, because I'm used to my phone being up this way. So I know I look like I'm looking this way, but I'm trying to look that way. But well, you guys can hear me and you guys can see me, so that's what matters. Um, but oh my gosh, did I lose my train of thought? Oh, okay. No. I know there are a lot of different people in different phases of their healing, different phases of their going through their emotions, and dealing with either narcissists or, just extremely manipulative people. And just want you guys to know that, you're not alone. You see for yourself that you're not alone, that we all have experienced it at least once in our lives. And, my catalyst hit me hard enough for me to actually be here to start doing these videos and start helping other people, because, I'm an empath. I can't stand to see people go through that. So, as long as I'm living and breathing, and as long as you guys understand and you guys are good with my content and you're good with how I deliver it to you, that's all that matters. That's all that matters to me. What I wanted to talk about in this particular chat, I wanted to talk about discard. Let's see who we have. Okay, guys, I'm going to be looking down because my other phone is here, because this one's a little farther away, so I can't see it. Okay, so Huh says, the best way to heal for me is to cry sitting on the lap of Jesus. He truly comforts me. Someday he will wipe away every tear for all time. That's awesome. That's very, very awesome. And it's very true, because I actually turned to God. One thing I realized with dealing with narcissists, or dealing with people who are just total opposite on the spectrum of us is that it does take us away from God sometimes, and it actually kind of takes us away from ourselves, where we kind of lose ourselves. And that's the one good thing about it, is that if you believe in God, I definitely strongly advise do a lot of prayer. Um, just come back in tune with him, because the light is the way, right? I mean, God cannot steer you wrong. He can't steer us wrong. He's perfect in every way. And of course, he's there for us no matter what. He's there to listen to us. Jamie, how do you deal with anger once the narcissist discards you? Been angry lately? Okay. It's kind of hard. It is hard to because you're going through so many emotions. You're going through so many emotions. It is hard to deal with anger, because you have so many. First and foremost, I'll let you know how I did it for myself. The first thing I did was I went through the pain. Okay, I went through doing things where I just had to feel the pain, because the only way you're really going to be able to get through it is if you go through it. And trying to cover up the pain, or trying to ignore it, it's just going to seep up eventually. So the first thing I did was I went through the pain, I went through the motions. Now, the anger part is unavoidable. You are going to be angry. You're going to be angry. You're going to feel like you were cheated. You're going to feel like, people just, used you and lied to you. You're going to feel like, damn, did I even know these people? Did I even, were they even being genuine or sincere with me or honest with me? You're going to feel all of those things, which is normal. It is normal, because if you were dealing with people who are, who are just, for lack of a better term, extremely selfish, just pretty much all about themselves. They, really don't care about your feelings, your emotions. The best way I can say is, because I don't want people to use their anger to retaliate or seek revenge. Revenge is not ours to take. I mean, I know you feel a certain kind of way, but it's not ours to take. Utilize the anger to push you. Utilize the anger to remind you of what it is that you do not want to be. Because if you stay stuck in that energy of the anger, what can end up happening is you're going to absorb it so much that you're going to transmute it. You're going to basically become such an angry person, such a bitter person, that you're going to end up forcing that anger onto innocent people. And that's something we don't want to do, guys, because that's something that was done to us. Okay. The anger part is, like I said, it's not avoidable. You're going to be angry. You're going to feel a certain kind of way. But how I utilized my anger, I used it to put myself on a pedestal. I used it to push myself to not only move forward, but to do bigger things, to do better things, because we know people are human. People, they make mistakes, and you can't change who people are. You can't change how they're going to do things. But use the anger to fuel you, just like a narcissist uses supply to fuel them. You can use the anger to really push yourself and saying, you know what? Okay. If you guys have seen my video on narcissists and their karma, okay? Everyone gets their karma. Everyone does. No matter who you are, we all get our karma. We get what we put out into the world. So if you are allowing nature to take its course, let the higher power, let God deal with that. You can utilize everything that you've learned from the experience. You can utilize everything you have felt from the experience, and you can make it work for you. You can make it work for you. You can show everyone that, you know what? You are who you are. This is the way you are. This is the way you're going to continually be. And I refuse to be like that. I refuse to allow you to think that you got one over on me. And I refuse to allow you to believe that everything you've ever done destroyed me. Everything you ever done, you know, just pretty much completely obliterated me. You know, I strongly, I mean, you have people who talk about, oh, you know, turn a negative into a positive. You know, keep happy thoughts, smile all the time, fake it till you make it. No, go through it. Go through it. Go through the pain. Go through the anger. Go through the, you know, the depression. Go through everything, but make sure you get through it. You understand? You go through it, but make sure you get through it. And it's interesting that, you know, you brought it up, Jamie, because that was pretty much what I wanted to talk about in this live. I wanted to talk about the discard, and I wanted to talk about the types of narcissists when they do discards. You, first and foremost, we know no two narcissists are alike. We know that already. We know that every narcissist, every manipulator, every sociopath, you name it, they all have their own quirks. They're not all the same. Now, in my book, what I've learned is you really, even though we have a number of narcissists, we have two different main core types when it comes to the discard. You have the narcissist who fears abandonment. Okay, he or she is afraid of that you're going to leave them. And you have the narcissist who was completely completely who was completely bored of the situation, and they, you know, they sought attention outside of your dynamic, outside of your relationship. And mind you guys, I'm talking about romance. Okay, I'm not talking about family yet, but I'm talking about romance. You have okay, Jade says, how do you get through it when you're stuck on feeling numb? Okay, I'll answer that in a second. You have the other narcissist who is just basically like, well, you know what, I'm getting a lot of attention over here. These people are, you know, feeding into me. And, you know, those are the ones that I think those are more the extroverted ones. Those are the ones who, like, they love the attention. They love the fact that they can, you know, they can get what they want. You know, they know that you're willing to do for them whatever it is that they want, but they like to push the envelope. They like to go a little further, so they can basically go outside of your relationship and do what it is that they do. And the, you know, discarding you is really, it's easy peasy. It's nothing for them. It's just like, you know what, I'm bored with you. You gave me my supply. It is what it is. On to the next thing. And then, of course, the first narcissist, which is the one who fears the abandonment. They're the ones who are afraid, or they're getting some kind of inkling, like even if you didn't give them the impression, but they're getting some kind of idea that you're going to leave me. You're going to abandon me. You're going to abandon me like everybody else or anybody else who has ever discarded me. So their mind frame is, I'm going to hurt you before you hurt me. I'm going to leave you before you leave me, because those types of narcissists, of course, you know, have had people in their life that have left them, and it's due to their nature. It's due to their behavior. But, you know, narcissists, how they look at it, they don't feel that anything is wrong with them. They look at it as, I'm not the one at fault. I'm not the one who has the problem here. You're the one who has the problem. So without taking accountability, without actually acknowledging their issues, their problems, naturally they're going to walk with the victim mindset, which is what we talked about last week. They have a victim mindset. They look at it as, nobody loves me, nobody wants me. Mind you, these are probably more the introverted narcissists. You have two types. You have introverted, and then you have extroverted. And the extroverted ones are kind of like the elite narcissists, the classic ones, the ones that like to, you know, go out there and show themselves to the world, and they command your attention. They command your supply. The introverted ones are, well, they're like closet narcissists, where they internally, they feel sorry for themselves. They look at themselves like, oh, you know, nobody's going to love me. Nobody wants me. And, you know, it is what it is. But they subtly gain the supply of remorse, people feeling sorry for them, feeling like, oh, but what's wrong? Why can't people, what's wrong with these people who come into your life? Why are they acting the way they do? When the reality of it is that the narcissist is pretty much who they are, and people can't handle them. People can't handle them in the sense of they don't want to deal with their bullshit. So a narcissist is pretty much going to be who they are. So Jade says, how do you get through it when you're stuck on feeling numb after the toxic person? How do you get through it? Well, again, I can only tell you how I got through it. And this was, what it is. People call people toxic. The reality is that their behaviors are toxic. Their behaviors are extremely toxic. And the numbness, again, I went through it. I'm one of those, I can't just sit there and be like, I'm gonna numb. A lot of people tend to do different things. They drink, they'll do drugs. They can even at any point become promiscuous. They can do all kinds of things to numb, just to numb themselves. I personally don't numb. I don't numb. I pretty much, they pretty much threw me in the fire. So I just walk through it. I walk through it because if you numb, what's the point of numbing? Numbing is to forget. Numbing is to kind of like, it's a way to suppress, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to suppress what you went through, what you were feeling at the time that you were going through it, because all it's going to do is it's going to come back. It's going to come back. It may not come back right away, but it's going to come back. And when it comes back, you can be in a situation or in a relationship with someone that, you think everything's great, everything's gravy. And then what happens? All of that you suppressed, it could just pop up, and you can end up doing something that you never really intended on doing. You can end up, hurting someone else. So I normally tell people not to numb. I know the feeling that when I'm getting there, I know, like, when I feel myself getting there, I kind of stop myself before it. But if you are feeling numb after dealing with someone and their toxic behaviors, the one thing I probably can tell you to do is, and I know maybe some people might not advise it, but this is my personal opinion. I think what you need to do is focus on all the negatives. Focus on the negatives. Keep the negatives in your head, because the reason you're numbing and the reason you feel like you want to go so numb is because your body and your brain is focused on the quote unquote positives. It's focused on, I love this person. This person loves me. They said they love me. They showed me certain things. They did certain things. That's pretty much keeping you stuck. That's keeping you stuck when you sit there thinking about, but when you use the word but, however, but, although, because that is a sign of making excuses. And we don't want that. We don't want excuses to be made. What we want is, we want to get through that fire. But you can't get through it if you keep saying, for example, the narcissist left me for someone else. But they were, they went through so much in their life, and I can understand, or I wasn't really, fulfilling certain things. You're making excuses. Do not use the term but. Do not use the term however. Don't use the term although. What you need to do is say to yourself, this person showed me one side of them. Was it true? Was it real? I don't know, because at this point, it doesn't matter. At this point, they showed me who they're truly capable of being. They showed me who they truly are. They showed me that they have no level of respect for me. They showed me that they were willing to make me look like and feel like I was going crazy. They were willing to hurt me in so many ways in front of so many different people. They were willing to humiliate me and disregard me. Those are the key things that we need to focus on. I make a list of red flags that I missed while in the relationship. They pop up and I write them down. It helps me. Yeah, that can work too. If there are certain things where because listen, being in a relationship, you know how the beginning goes, right? Everybody knows how the beginning goes. It's all sweet, it's fine, it's happy go lucky, it's getting to know someone, you know, and you know everybody how everybody says we're getting to know the representative. And you're very welcome, Jade. It's getting to know the representative. You're learning someone. Like if you're meeting a complete stranger for the first time, you are meeting the representative. Naturally, if someone's a narcissist, they're not just going to clear cut tell you, listen, I have emotional instability. I have a fear of intimacy. I have a fear of abandonment. And, you know, they're not going to be forthcoming on these things. They're going to basically, they're going to actually test you out. They're going to, because remember, they're not coming to terms with their own issues. They're not coming to terms with the reality, the truth of things. And the reality is, I have problems. I have issues, and I don't want to face them. I don't want to, I don't want to acknowledge them. And I want to project onto the world that it's, they're the ones who are the problem. I'm not the problem. If you notice during a discard, doesn't the narcissist point the finger to you? Don't they put the blame on you? Don't they, tell you, well, I wouldn't have done A, B, and C if you had been X, Y, and Z. Or I wouldn't have, you know, decided to do all of this if you weren't so, because they'll put it on you. They'll tell you that you're controlling. They'll tell you that you try to make them do, things that they didn't want to do. And the reality is the only thing you really asked of them was compromise. You asked for the basics: compromise, consideration, loyalty, love, respect, honor. I mean, call me crazy, aren't those basics? And because it became too much for them, they had no intention on really giving you all of those, all of that within the relationship, because to a narcissist, a relationship is extremely, extremely hard. Okay, so Jamie says, thanks, this helps. I have not talked to my ex for about 6 weeks now, but she's been making appearances in my life again. When I do see her, she mean mugs me and slanders me. And yeah, it could be tough. It can be tough. And you just have to learn the art of avoidance. You know what they say, ignorance is bliss, right? Ignore. I tell people all the time, ignore any attempts, ignore any type of, if you have social media, block them, completely block them. Keep your page, your profiles private. Monitor, who's coming in, and you know I'm sorry, just give me one sec. Okay. Getting through the release responsibility, reorganize, prioritize, receive self-love. Yeah, I mean, it's you basically going through that stage is, again, everybody's different. I'm not familiar with numbing because I went straight from, being in love to being discarded, being, degraded. You guys already know some of the things that I have gone through. Um, I was completely thrown off guard. I didn't even know where it came from. But at the end of the day, everything that was shown to me at that time gave me enough to say that this is not something I or my son deserves. So regardless of it, because regardless of how they treat you, you also got to, think of it this way too. If you have children, you have to think of how these types of people would be around your kids. The discard phase, every discard is different. Every discard is different. You have the ones that can become very volatile, very abrasive, very like get angry. And that's because, of course, you're being gaslit. So when you're being gaslit, you're trying to understand and you're trying to find out what's going on. Why is this even happening? And they're getting more pissed off. They're getting aggravated. They're getting agitated. It's kind of like saying, you know what, listen, I'm not giving you a real proper, proper reason. I'm not giving you the closure. I'm not doing any of that. So just excuse my French, get the fuck over it and just do what you got to do. But if you notice also, they'll give you some type of, they'll give you some type of consolation prize. They'll give you some, well, listen, we can't, I don't want to be in this relationship, da 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 da, whatever. And you can ask them, not that they're going to be honest about it, but you can ask them, well, are you talking to someone else? Are you seeing someone else? Of course, they're not going to be honest with it, but they will give you a consolation prize. They'll give you, let's be friends. Narcissists, we know narcissists are notoriously known for wanting to be friends. They want to be friends with their exes. And if you see my video on why narcissists want to be friends with their exes, we understand that they want to leave an open doorway. They want to, because if whatever does not pan out for them, or if they become bored with their new situation, they want to, because they had you before, you loved them before, you've been with them before. It's easier to creep back in when you're friends. It's easier to bring up the good old days, the good times. But then when you decide, I'm going to bring the elephant in the room, remember what happened? What is it? You're stuck on that. You're stuck on what happened 5-10 years ago. You're stuck on what happened. It's like, so we're just going to act like nothing ever happened. We're going to act like that you did not just do what you did or say what you said. We're just going to pretend that none of that ever happened. But because we had some good times, which I'm still kind of questioning those good times, you want to start all over again. And I'm telling you guys, okay? I'm telling you that starting all over with someone you clearly know is a narcissist, starting over with someone you clearly know has been manipulating you and gaslighting you, it won't get any better. It will not get any better. If you've ever gone into different cycles with the same narcissist, if you've gone back and forth with the same person, if you notice each time you guys get together and then the breakup or the separation or whatever, if it looks like it's getting worse than the very first time it happened, that's because it's getting worse, because that now they know certain ways to get you back in. They know certain things to say to you to get you to come back in. Let's look at it this way. And I'm honest with you guys. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not going to, I'm honest with you guys. If they can get you to come back after the first time, and they can, they screwed you over the first time and they hurt you the first time and they did all kinds of stuff. If they can get you back to come back into their life, to come back in their bed, to come back and do all these things, you know how many times, you know how many different ways they can maneuver, and all because why? You let them back in. You forgave. Listen, I don't knock anyone, and I'm going to say this to you guys. I don't knock anyone for giving someone another chance. If, and this is a big if they have managed to show you some type of change, because like I said, not everybody is a narcissist. Let's make that clear. Not everybody is a narcissist. You have people who are narcissistic. You have people who do certain things that resemble narcissism, okay? But we're going to call a spade a spade. If you know someone is a narcissist, if you know someone, you know what? Let's throw that out the window for a second. We're going to throw it out the window for a second. If you know someone who has manipulated, lied to you, has cheated on you, has done all these things to you, you decide to give them another chance. Don't do it off the strength of, well, I loved them once, and, okay, maybe we could try this time. Maybe they have learned. No, the proof is in the pudding. It's all in the pudding. And if you are going to give someone another chance, if you are going to say, okay, I'm going to give you another chance, you have to make them earn your trust. You have to make them earn your love. Because at that point in time, when you were going through the discard and you were begging and pleading and hurting and crying, and you were completely flabbergasted. You didn't know what the hell was going on. You were confused, and all the while, and I focus on this, all the while they knew what they were doing. They Sorry about that, guys. A call came in. But they knew what they were doing. And you want to really think about that. Really, really think about that. Think about everything that they were doing. Think about everything that they were saying. Think about everything that every emotion they were making you feel. That's what going through the fire is. It's thinking about every bit of emotion, every lie, every hurtful word, everything that they were doing at the time that you were, trying to reach out to them, trying to understand, why is this happening? How do we go from being together, you loving me loving you, you putting me on a pedestal, me putting you on a very high pedestal. Notice the difference, guys. Notice the difference. They were putting you on a pedestal, but you were putting them on an even higher pedestal, because being in a relationship with a narcissist, you are going from loving someone, from genuinely caring and compromise, to straight up worshiping them. Straight up, anything they wanted, you would do it. Anything they wanted, you would get them. Anything that you thought would keep them happy and keep them, you be in their good graces, you would do it. And that's one of the reasons why releasing from them is hard, because you are now, you're in that state of worship. You're in that state of, I'm willing to do anything for this person to keep them happy and keep them in my life. I'm willing to, and this more so goes for people who are codependent, because a lot of securely attached people, a narcissist knows you will not put up with that shit. The minute you see certain things, they know you're not going to put up with that. But someone who's codependent, someone who does not know self-love, someone who does not know their own value, someone who will take a little breadcrumb, a tiny little breadcrumb, and that tiny little breadcrumb that they're giving you, you're looking at it like a golden nugget. Someone who is like that will pretty much sacrifice themselves. They'll be a martyr. They will sacrifice everything. They don't mind begging. They don't mind pleading. They don't mind, going back. They don't mind, and these are people who have not overcome codependency, but they don't mind doing these things because they receive that transactional love. I gave you guys a word last week, called, it's transference. It's a word in psychology. And interestingly enough, a lot of us have we've had these feelings of transference and don't even realize it. Now, I want to just read this to you really quickly. It says, transference occurs when a person redirects some of their feelings or desires for another person to an entirely different person. One example of transference is when you observe characteristics of your father in a new boss. You attribute fatherly feelings to this new boss. They can be good or bad feelings. What did I tell you guys before? If you've been raised by a narcissist and you find yourself being in consistent relationships with narcissists, in a way, you are doing transference. You recognize something in these people. You recognize a certain characteristic that may remind you of your mom, may remind you of your dad, because you become familiar. So what you think is, I don't know, like, a soulmate type of connection or whatever the case may be, what you're actually doing is you're becoming familiar with certain behaviors that you have experienced at an earlier time in your life. And you're basically, so it's kind of like saying, which is what Freud pretty much said, we inherently, we look for the characteristics in other people that represent our caregivers. Ladies, you look for characteristics in men that may possibly resemble your father. Fellas, the same thing with your mother. So if you are dealing with someone, let's just say, okay, let's say for the guys, if you're dealing with someone who is a female narcissist, okay, there are certain characteristics in this female that attracted you, Now, let's say your mother is a narcissist, okay? Or we'll do another one. We'll say your dad is a narcissist, whichever one. There are characteristics in narcissists that will attract you. Female narcissists, what are they known to do? They're known to be alluring. They're known to use their appeal to attract men in. Okay? Female narcissists will utilize, they'll study you. They will study certain things about you. A lot of female narcissists like to go for men who are internally insecure. Okay? Because if you are insecure, you are going to put her on a pedestal. You're going to pretty much put all your focus on her. They also go for men that they feel will make them look good. So a lot of female narcissists, now this of course gets broken down. You have somatic narcissists, which are the bougie ones, right? The ones that like to have the high priced clothing and they like to wear that expensive name brand stuff, okay? Then you have this cerebral narcissists, which are the ones who are about the mind. They're about intelligence. They're about, they're tracker. So your mom, an overt narcissist is pretty much the narcissist that's very flamboyant. They're the ones who, they're like the loudest ones in the room. And they're the ones who kind of like, it's very noticeable, overt and covert. Covert are the stealthy ones, the behind the scenes, the undercover ones. The overt ones are the ones that they're just pretty much, you could just tell. To people who don't know about narcissists, they'll just look at them as, you're kind of obnoxious, but whatever. But people who do know about narcissists, the overt ones are the ones who are like, they're the loudest ones in the room. They're the ones who like, they will like insult you in front of everybody. They will insult you in front of everybody and make it out to be like it's a joke. But the reality is, so you know that they're not really joking. They're really insulting you, but because they can gain the attention of other people, and they mask it. They mask their insults with, joking around. And if it's your mom, would be the type that doesn't mind embarrassing you in front of people. They're the types that don't mind bringing up, maybe stuff from your childhood that you really don't feel comfortable, talking about it, but they don't care. They don't care, because as long as the attention is put onto them and everyone looks at them like, because narcissist mothers, they have this, it all makes sense, guys. Narcissist mothers, like any female narcissist, they run with narratives. What is the mom supposed to be? Mom is supposed to be maternal. Mom is supposed to be the one that, takes care of you. Mom is supposed to be the one that does not hurt you, that doesn't do anything to hurt you. And the reality of it is that maybe in public they're one way, in private they're another. That's a covert narcissist mother. Overt narcissist mothers are the ones who don't care. They will say what they say. They'll hurt your feelings, and it is what it is. You can't say anything about it, because if you snap back at them, what happens? She'll flip it around, telling everybody, oh, you see, he can't even take a joke. Like, really? Or you have narcissist mothers who make it seem like, oh, my laptop almost fell. You have narcissist mothers who make it seem like you wouldn't be where you are if it wasn't for them. You wouldn't, where would you be in this life because, you're so codependent on them? Where would you be if it wasn't for them? When the reality is, Some narcissist mothers, if you find yourself in situations where you're not really progressing in your life, it's because the mother is the one putting you in that situation. You understand? There are so many different types of narcissist mothers. And my narcissist mother videos, I had to do 3 of them because there are so many different traits and so many different things that they do that really hurts their children. It really hurts their children. And if you think about it, if you're dealing with a narcissist, you got to look at their mothers. You got to look at their fathers. You got to look at, and I tell people, look at the family upbringing. Look at the type of people that they are surrounded by. Because narcissists in family are willing to let shit slide. They're willing to accept certain things. What do we learn about narcissist family members? You have the scapegoat, you got the golden child, you got the narcissist, you got the enabler, and then you got the black sheep. I know a lot of us are probably black sheeps because a lot of us don't run with the narratives. A lot of us will not put up with that shit, family or not. I'm not dealing with that. This is wrong. You know it's wrong. This is how you want to do it. So naturally, everybody in the family goes against the black sheep. Nobody is like, the black sheep is pretty much the enemy of the entire family. But the narcissist, which is the head one in charge, is the one they're the ones who are going to direct. They're the director of the entire dynamic. The enabler, which is the codependent is, either, the spouse, or it can be the children. Roles get turned around on so many different levels. And I'm sorry guys, I'm just, whenever women like them. Yeah, I mean, but in this case, when the narcissist directs you and they give you a certain role to play, you could be the golden child on a Monday, and then you can be the scapegoat by Wednesday. It's all about how you play your role. It's all about how you put the narcissist on their pedestal. You fulfill their supply. That's all it's about. Narcissist mothers are about having the world revolve around them, are about being the one, I took care of you, now you got to take care of me. That's the general idea of a narcissist mother. A narcissist father is the one who, for sake of showing the world that he's normal, he'll have a family, but he really won't want to be around his family. Like he would prefer to be more on the outskirts. He prefers to be more on the outside, doing his own thing. But he has to show normality to everyone else. So he, because people say, well, why do narcissists get married? Why, if they are the way they are, why do they get married? They get married because they want to appear normal. They want to appear like normal people, to the general public. Why get into a relationship if you're going to cheat? Why get into a relationship if you're just gonna get up and run away? Because for that time being, they want to give the appearance of being normal. They want to show people, listen, I can maintain a relationship. Look, I'm in a relationship. I'm normal. And the reality is that they're only looking at their partner as an object. They're looking at their partner as someone they can control, someone who will just, give them what they want, and they don't have to do much. Because if you notice, you were giving and giving and giving and giving. You gave and you gave and you kept giving and giving because, that was coming from you. And the narcissist says, all right, I'm going to give you this little speck. If you give them the impression you're satisfied with that little speck, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they continue dealing with someone like that if they can get what they want, for a very, very minimum, very bare minimum? But that is why I say you have to look at the dynamics of the family. You got to look at the parents. You got to look at the people they were raised around. And if you notice in family dynamics, you probably wouldn't notice it at the time that you're dealing with the family and you're dealing with the narcissist. Because if you're on cloud nine, you're not noticing anything because you are just like, oh, everybody's happy-go-lucky and everybody's, we're having a good time and everybody's good. You're having a good time. You're not looking for red flags. When I say it's when you are having a good time that you need to start looking for red flags, because those red flags are very transparent, but they're still there. And you have to pay attention. You got to pay attention to how people talk. In family settings, if you're with a narcissist and you're with them with their family setting, you got to listen to the conversations. Now, I'm not saying eavesdrop, but listen how they talk. Listen to how they talk to one another. Okay? Listen to how they are with one another. Listen to how and pay attention to everything that's going on around you, because how this person came about was because of how this family is. You have to pay attention to, to the parents. If they, I mean, not everybody has both parents in their lives. Not everybody has their parents that are married, but you have to pay attention to the parents that are in their lives. What are their morals? What are their, their ideals? What are their beliefs? You got to pay attention to those things too. You have to pay attention to the dynamics between the parents, because domestic abuse is not just physical, guys. It's not physical. It is emotional, it is psychological, and in most cases, it's spiritual. You have to look at these things. And when you start to see certain things, like I had noticed certain things, but I didn't say anything because it's like, sometimes when you notice certain things, you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to sit there and be like, okay, that doesn't look right, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give the wrong impression, or I don't want the person to attack me thinking that I'm attacking their family. Sometimes you have to say something. Sometimes you have to. And if the person you're dealing with says, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever, you can clearly see it. And if they can't see it, that's because they choose not to see it. They refuse to see it, because narcissists, believe it or not, they're codependents. Narcissists are codependents. They are codependents turned abuser. If you're a codependent, how you identify with your pain determines how you're going to be, within your future. Narcissists are codependents too. They're just basically more in tune with their abuser. Codependents are more in tune with their afflictions and their empathy, and they won't put that onto other people. So, pay attention to those dynamics, pay attention to the relationships, pay attention to certain things. And in most cases, when you are dealing with a narcissist, if you are dealing with a narcissist, pay attention to facial expressions. When you say certain things, pay attention to a lot of these things, guys. When you say something that's on your mind, or if something's bothering you and you're like, listen, or even if, listen, narcissists are known to be inconsiderate. So if they are showing you inconsideration and you say, listen, I want to sit and have a talk with you, be very, very cordial. I think that you've just been a little inconsiderate and we need to have a talk. Excuse me. Pay attention to their facial expressions. Trust me when I say that. Pay attention to their facial expressions, because if you try to get some kind of consideration and they give you like a nasty, what we call stink face, or they give you a, you should not be responded with hostility or aggression if you are, especially if you're going to them and telling them, let's just sit and have a talk. You should not be responded with that by someone who's, because most people in general, what will we do? If someone says, Erica, listen, I really feel that you were being inconsiderate in this situation. Okay, let's sit down and talk about it. What did I do? Because because see, when you try to speak with someone who's a manipulator, instead of them saying, what did I do? They're going to say, what is it that you think I did? What is it that you think I did? And we'll talk about it. That's deflection. Don't do that. Erica, I felt you were inconsiderate. Okay. What did I do? What did I do that made you feel this way. So I know not to do it again because I don't want you to feel this way. You understand how I respond to that? Manipulators will be like, what is it that you think I did? Okay, but okay, so, and if, if you tell them, you made me feel bad. You hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings and you said something that really bothered me. A manipulator's response? Well, I'm sorry that you feel that what I said hurts your feelings. A natural response, I apologize for what I said. I did not mean to hurt your feelings. You understand the difference. Okay, so when if you're dealing with narcissists, there are so many different things that you have to look for. When it comes, this was actually what I wanted to talk about. When it comes to the discard, now, and I was trying to stay on track with the discard. I really was, but you guys know me. My ADD kicks in, and I'm all over the place. There, and I have a video on the different things to look for prior to a discard, the different signs and red flags. Okay, we already know that narcissists are emotionally stunted people. They are just, they have no emotional growth. That's just who they are. Okay, they may have managed to show you a sense of vulnerability, and of course that is, in my honest opinion, that vulnerability is a mirror. They're mirroring off of you. They're mirroring your empathy. They're mirroring your vulnerability. Because if you're an empathic person, if you're a feeling person, and you are representing or you're showing certain things in that relationship, they're just mirroring what you would do. Because again, they study you and they watch you. But the discard phase, you'll notice how they're becoming more and more distant. Okay. They are becoming more and more vague in certain things. You're not communicating like you would normally communicate. You're not being met with the things that you were met with in the beginning, even during the interim of your relationship. You are noticing that they have more of an attitude. They're becoming more snappy, a little bit more meaner. And they are no longer taking your thoughts and needs into consideration. They're pulling away. Okay. They're pretty much detaching themselves because, again, depending on the type of narcissist that you're with, either they had some kind of inkling that you are not feeling the relationship anymore, or if they feel, because they perceive things in their own way, if they see that you are kind of seeing through certain things and you are making yourself known, you're making your voices, you're basically standing your ground. Not to say that you were going to leave them, but if that were going to boil down to it, they're going to discard you before you discard them. They cannot be discarded first, because that's like another person abandoned me, and it's all hell breaking loose for them. The other type of narcissist is, of course, if they are looking at the relationship as, it's boring, it's not doing anything for me, it's not filling my supply, it's not boosting my ego, you're not doing these things anymore, and I'm just going to go look somewhere else. Those are the ones who are the ones who will go outside of your relationship and, of course, do whatever it is that they, want to do. Once they've locked in new supply, all that time they're going to obviously, they're going to gaslight you. They're going to pretty much, keep you at a distance, but still like be around. So they're going to keep you at arm's length. They're going to gaslight you and have you feeling like, you're the problem. I need space. That's the one common thing they use. I need space. We should take a break. We should do this. We should do that. Because they are in the midst of finding or locking in new supply. And you cannot interfere with that. Okay? You can't interfere with that. So while you're sitting there dazed out of your mind, and while you're sitting there wondering, what the hell did I do wrong? Why is this person treating me this way? Why this? Why that? They can sit there and tell you 100 ways from Tuesday, I'm not seeing anybody. I'm not doing anything. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And you'll notice certain things. Because if you were anything like me, you go snooping. I'm a snooper. I snooped because I needed clarity. I needed to know what the hell was going on. And when they gaslight you, it's because they're trying to keep you strung. They're just trying to keep you at, holding on to that rope. So naturally what they're going to do is they're going to make you feel like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and if you see something, oh, this person is, like if it's on social media, this person was writing certain things. So you're going to sit here and tell me this person, oh, you're always taking things in the wrong context. You're taking things the wrong. It's bullshit. Guys, it's bullshit. Okay? They look at you like, yo, you're begging me. You're begging me to stay with you. You are begging me and crying and telling me you're going to change for me. I can say whatever the fuck I want to you. I can tell you anything. Hell, I can be the most meanest, nastiest, cruelest person to you. And all you're going to do is sit there and cry about it because you are in love with me. And meantime, I'm entertaining new supply. Guys, it's, me, I tell the truth, and it's going to be the harsh truth because I need people to be triggered and snapped, because you have to understand that is the mind of a narcissist. That is the mind of someone who wants to get their own supply, and they're looking down their nose to you. Meantime, you are the one who, you put them on the pedestal, but it wasn't because you felt you had to, or you did it because you wanted to. And they're looking at you like, you're not going anywhere. You will not go anywhere. And as long as I continuously throw you breadcrumbs, as long as I continuously text you, even though it's random, because you want to know why they do that? Because they need your mind to be back on them. So if you ever notice how you don't talk to them, let's say a week or two, you're kind of pulling yourself away, out of sight, out of mind, right? They pick up on that. And what do? They'll shoot you a random text because they need you to still be there. They need you to still kind of be in the element with them. Still kind of, and they know that by doing that and texting you and sending you messages, it's tugging at you because now it's bringing you right back. It's bringing you right back to where you used to feel. That's the only reason they do it. They do it because they know they can. Because if you were just begging them to stay with you a few weeks ago, there's no way in hell you're getting over them in 2 weeks. There's no way you're getting over them in 2 weeks. And you know what? They know that. So what do? Let me send a random text message and just kind of test the waters. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to send you the message. They're going to test the waters. And that's going to bring you, just when you thought, oh, okay, all right, I'm doing this little by little. I'm still in pain, but I'm moving forward. And what are they going to do? They're going to shoot you a message. And the minute you see, you don't even have to see the message. The minute you see their name on your phone, it brings you right back. It brings you right back to that spot. And you're like, your heart starts to beat fast. Trust me, guys, I know it. Your heart starts to beat fast. You kind of like, your brain is just, you're releasing these certain types of hormones. Your heart is just like palpitating. It's just like pumping. And your body just feels like it wants to break down. Because just when you were being at your strongest, even though it's been a couple of weeks, seeing their name is like, and you're like, what do I say? What do I do? Absolutely fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. You do not respond. You do not. Matter of fact, the minute that all that shit went down the way it did should have been the moment that you change your phone number. Because that's what's going to help you start your healing. That's what's going to help you. If they continuously have access to you, they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And you're not putting your foot down. You're not saying, no, fuck this, I'm done. Get out of my face. You're still keeping the same phone number. You're still leaving your social media open. You're still going around, maybe possibly trying to bump, thinking, no, don't do it. Do not do it. The one thing a narcissist fears the most is not having supply, because you were genuine supply. You were love. You were showing them something that their narcissistic parents did not show them. Whether it was their mother, whether it was their father, or both. You were showing them something that people who should have been showing them something in their lives were not showing them. And they became addicted to it, because narcissists do that. They became addicted. They were kind of on the fence about it because they are very guarded. Narcissistic people are about, I'm about myself. I'm about protecting myself. I don't know you like that. That's how they are. And it's all because their parents let them down. Their parents let them down. And I said this in my video, Why the Narcissist Has to Hurt You. Their parents, listen, their parents dropped the ball, and you were left to deal with their narcissistic rage. You were left to deal with their insecurities. You were left to deal with their trauma, because that's what it is. It's trauma. It's trauma. Ladies, if you were with a narcissistic man and you were showing him love and affection and attention, and you were giving him emotions and empathy and sympathy, and and he looks at you like, okay, what is this? That's because mommy not so dearest didn't do it for him, because she didn't teach him. Okay, fellas, if you're dealing with a woman, same thing. You showed her love, you showed her affection, you showed her attention. You were the complete opposite of any other man that she was with. That's because her daddy fucked up on her. It's just straight up. Because he fucked up on her, she managed to get into relationships with men that were in reflection of her father. And when she finally met someone who was neither her father nor her mother, totally different guy, nice man, just looking to love someone, looking to be a good man, she's already so screwed up in her head. She's already so messed up in dealing with so many of what does she end up doing? She ends up hurting you. She ends up hurting you because she has unresolved trauma. Narcissists have unresolved trauma, and they refuse to deal with it. They refuse to face it. So what do? They take it out on you. So any little thing, something triggers them. If you are in the way of a narcissist being triggered, no. And you're not at fault for it, but if you're in their way, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. You're going to get the brunt of those punches, of those emotional punches. And that's what it is. Narcissists are traumatized people too, but they identify more with their abusers. They do what they do because, and I don't, you know me guys, I don't justify the abuse. I don't sit here and say, well, it's because they were abused. No, you're old enough to know. So if you're fucking 40 something years old, 50 something years old, and you are still doing this nonsense, because that's what it is, it's nonsense. Clearly something is wrong with you. And clearly you need to stop making excuses, and you need to stop with the bullshit and just get the help that you need. They are jealous of other people who walk with empathy, who walk with sympathy, who have happiness. They are notoriously known for that. And well, we'll get into that in next week's live. We'll talk about other traits and other things, because this is like, but you guys understand, connect those dots and understand what it is that you got involved with, and understand that it was not your fault. That's the key thing I want people to understand. It is not your fault what you've been through. It's not. Don't absorb that. Don't take that in. Don't let anybody have you feeling like you're not good enough. Oh, because what? Because the narcissist decided to do what they did. You're not. Oh, I must not be good enough. No, it's because they're not good enough. They're not good enough for you, and they're not good enough. And I don't like saying it that way, because I don't like categorizing people, but deep down inside, they're these just restricted, restrained children. Because narcissists, what are they called? The big babies, big man child, big woman child. That's how they are. They're petty. They're infantile. They will, say and do things to hurt you, because Why? They're projecting onto you what was done to them. Their parents or whomever said and did things to hurt them. So they do the same thing to you. And I said it in one of my other videos, you know, toxic men, toxic females are emasculated males and females. These are people who had their identity taken away from them. And they're just like, narcissists are like big kids. That's all they are. They don't know better, unfortunately. And sometimes they have to learn the hard way. But fortunately for, you know, everybody who's gone through it, you have people who care enough to educate you on this and give you the blow by blow of everything, you know, let you know this is how it is. So don't absorb that. And wherever you are in your healing, whether you're in the if you're in the beginning of your healing, like I mean, like if you just recently left a narcissist, go through the videos, guys. Go through them, because by the time you're done, you're not only going to have a clear understanding, but you're going to say to yourself, I don't need to numb. I don't need to feel like I'm a void. I don't need to feel hurt or in pain, even though you're still going to probably do it because you're an emotional person, and that's fine. But you don't need to do it, because if something is an illusion, it was never real, right? And if it was never real, then that pain shouldn't be real either. But you're still going to feel it, because of course you were being genuine. So you're still going to feel it. But just know that these types of people, then they'll always get what they deserve. They'll always get what they deserve. So guys, don't, like I tell people, do not go seeking revenge. Don't play them, you know. Beating a narcissist means not playing them at their game. Not playing. You need two players to play the game. You don't have to play. Don't play their game. Let them go ahead and let them be with their supply. Let them be with their supply. Let them be with, you know, whoever it is, because it taught you something, and now you don't have to go through what most people, because there are a lot of people who didn't go through their healing. And a lot of people, because they didn't do it and because they didn't educate themselves, they ended up being just alone, being afraid of love, not wanting to be with anyone because they're too scared to be in a relationship. They're too scared to want to be involved with people. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to break that barrier. You're correct about the effect the narc parents has on the kid. I came to find out from learning my mom is a narc that I had narc traits and how I acted working. And you know what? Tracker, that's awesome, because at least you acknowledge it. At least you acknowledge your problems. At least you are taking accountability. And that's what's important. Taking the accountability is the first step. And you understand that you were being toxic. You understand that you were doing things that were not healthy. And I give you that, because not many people will do that. A lot of people walk this world like, I'm not the one with the problem, you are. You have a problem with my attitude. That's not my problem. That's yours. So they will walk the face of the earth thinking that, you know, oh, well, people don't like me. That's the attitude. People don't like me. But those are like the real extroverted ones. Well, people don't like me because, you know, I speak my mind and I do this. Disrespecting people is not speaking your mind. Okay? Shaming people, not speaking your mind. Hurting people for the sake of your own personal gain, not speaking your mind, not doing the right thing. That is not speaking your mind. And if you are able to say to yourself, I want to change myself. When I found that I was codependent, the first thing I did was, I want to change that. I want to change that. I don't want to be a burden on someone who is not codependent and potentially lose someone that can really love me the way I deserve to be loved. And I don't want to be in a dynamic with someone who's going to use, abuse, and take me for granted. So I decided, no, I'm changing that about myself. I acknowledged, I took accountability for my actions, and I accepted things. You know, I accepted the fact that I had 30 some odd years of codependency, better late than never. And now I managed to overcome that. So much so to the point that I'm like, I'm at a point I don't really want to be involved. I just want to kind of enjoy my autonomy and just be by myself, and I'm okay with that. I'm actually really, really good with that. But yeah, Tracker, definitely, acknowledge, take your accountability, and and move forward from that point on. Take the steps from that point on. You're not going to be put at the stakes. You're not going to be like, you're in a room right now with people who have gone through it, who have narcissistic parents, who have had narcissistic relationships. The people who follow my content have all been through it. And at the end of the day, taking accountability is the first step. And you're not, I encourage narcissists. I encourage people who feel they may be a narcissist. I encourage people who say, you know what, maybe I am. Come forward. That's fine. Nobody's gonna stone you because you are trying to make a change. You're trying to change that. And I commend you for that, because not many people would do that. Not many people will say, I'm a screwed up individual and I screw up relationships and I self-sabotage and I hurt people. And, not many people will do that. So you took the first step in doing that, and I'm definitely, definitely proud of you for that. So guys, we're going to talk about so much more next week. So we're going to get into it. And, if you guys have any suggestions of it, yep. Acknowledgement is the first step to change. Absolutely. Taking accountability is the next, because once you acknowledge your behaviors, now it's like, okay, now I got to take accountability. Now I got to say to myself, what did I do? And it's going to hit you hard, because once you acknowledge your wrongdoings, and then you begin taking the accountability for all the people that you've done wrong and all the people that you have really, it's going to hit you. It will hit you, but you don't have to let it hit you to the point where you are damn near beating yourself up, to a bloody pulp. People make mistakes. People, if God forgives, I mean, hey, me personally, I'm still working. I'm still working on forgiving people. But I am only human. So, I tell people, you go to God, seek forgiveness from him, because you will get his forgiveness before you get mine. And I'm very honest about it. I'm not going to deny that. But I am still working on that. I'm still working on completely forgiving. I have released the anger and the bitterness. I did release that. But, forgiveness, that takes time. So don't beat yourselves up about it if you have not forgiven them yet. Just take it one day at a time. That's all you can do. One day at a time. And of course, if you believe in God, continue with the prayers, continue going to him for guidance, continue going in the path that you guys are going in, compared to where you used to be and where you are now. You compare those two, you'll see the biggest change. You guys have made such a big, big, big change. And if you guys haven't already, I had loaded up a video of me and a good friend of mine. Some of you have already seen it. It's called Sip Chat. We were sitting here chilling, drinking, sipping on some wine and stuff, just talking. And, she has come a long way, and she's still on her journey. She's still going through her healing process, and she's taking it one day at a time. But it goes to show nothing's impossible. So you guys can do it. You guys can do it. And I'll be more than glad to be here to help you get through it, because you deserve it. You deserve love, guys. We all deserve love, We all deserve happiness. We all deserve peace. And, I would love to be one that attends your weddings. So if you do find someone, I love cake, I love food. If you find someone worthy of you, and you find someone that you can, because you managed to utilize everything you learned to find that person, shoot me a message, shoot me an invitation. I'll be more than glad to attend. It may not be my own wedding, but that's another story. But anyway, guys, so I am so glad that you guys were able to join. It's gonna, the streaming is gonna pop up on my channel, so anybody who was unable to attend will be able to, watch it from the beginning. And if you notice the lives, thank you, Alicia. I'm so glad you were able to make it. Thank you so much. If you guys, every Tuesday, 8 p.m., I was contemplating Jay, thank you for coming. Thank you guys. You guys are really awesome. I definitely enjoyed doing it. I mean, if Amanda wants to, she wants to do another sip chat with me, we could do that. And you know, it was fun because we let it out. We let our emotions out. We let everything out. And at the same time, we managed to look at ourselves and we managed to laugh compared to where we used to be. So I am definitely happy of where I'm at right now, and I'm definitely happy that I'm able to accompany her in her journey as well. And anybody who, you know, needs someone to talk to, or anyone who needs to let it out, shoot me a message. I'll be more than glad to walk through it with you. I'll be more than glad to give you whatever it is that you need to help you get along with the process. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for attending, and you know, if you have any questions, please I will, Amanda, I will stay away from the lights. I have just my ring light right here, right now. But you're very welcome, Jamie. Very welcome. So glad you were able to make it. But thank you for joining me, guys. And I do hope, I hope to help, you know, a few people. And I hope whoever gets to see this, you know, in the future, it'll definitely help them out as well. And so just join me back here next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. That's New York for me. You're welcome, huh? Huh? I'm like, huh? But I like the name, though. It's very different. Very different. You're very welcome. Join me back here next time, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time for me. So whatever time that is for you. And we'll chit-chat some more, and we'll help some more people. That's what we're here for, guys. So thank you again, guys. If you like the... Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome, Tracker. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. So if you guys like it, please give me a thumbs up before leaving. And, you know, I'll be working on my next video. So we got a lot to do. We're going to do it. I'm going to help you guys get through it. All right, guys. So again, thank you all for coming. I love you all. Much love, blessings, peace, and happiness. And until next time, guys, namaste. Bye, guys.